I don't know where to start.
Well, let's start off.
Okay, well, maybe in the glass there.
Okay. Yeah.
Here in this cabinet. I just got touched. I'm a member of the Algonquin First Nation community here in Winnoway, Quebec. Been here residing here for the last 71 years now. God, that makes me 71. And my favorite is these coins. The Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. I was always curious about when this community started. So one day I asked my dad, who passed on now, I asked him, well, how long have we been living here now? Well, he says, I'll tell you the year. 1952, we moved here from Hull, Sandpoint, across from Moffett, Quebec. That's where we lived. We moved here in 1952. 52 the year you were born, so I don't think you'll ever forget when Winnoway was created. So we moved here because there was no road access to go out to come across the water. There was no road, only used canoes and wintertime dogs and sleds. And when people got sick, they were sure to die because couldn't get them to the hospital and stuff like that. So we moved here. And I've been living here since then. Of course, there was times when I left the reserve to, further my education at the college level. And I worked for the band council for 15 years as a bookkeeper. I started off as a janitor first, and then I didn't really like that, so I asked if I could do the accounting. Then I went back to Timmins, Ontario to get a certificate in administration, so I started working there for 15 years. And somewhere down the line, I didn't think I had a drug problem or alcohol. It was mostly alcohol in those days because there was no heavy drugs anywhere, not here anyway. And I would, work from Monday to Friday. And Friday came, I'd, pay the bill, whatever, and go to the bar. I didn't think I had a problem because I did that for 23 years before I realized I had a problem. This year was in 1991. 1991, I guess I wanted to be an artist. I didn't really know where I started, so I went to the store, I bought this, and I bought some markers, and I painted. I didn't know what I was trying to do. I was just tried my first one. And over the years, it followed me, and now I have a gallery that'll stay here as long as the gallery stands, the studio. Unfortunately, by the last 25 years, they started coming to the community, and I got involved with that, and to cut it short, I ended up getting 5 years in a federal institution in Kingston, Ontario. It was the first time I've been in prison. It was a hard go, but I hurt somebody really bad, and out of being intoxicated with drugs. But I pleaded guilty because I was. And I got 5 years and spent 3 years in the penitentiary before they released me. And then afterwards, another 2 years on parole. And then I got my life back. But while I was there, I realized it was the worst place I've ever been in my life, in a federal institution. So I thought, hey, they made a mistake. I think, they'll come and get me soon, let me go home. But it doesn't work that way, So I asked for a job in there, and I got a job. Did well, did all the programs and stuff. And then when my parole came, they granted me parole. So I got released. But they wanted me to be on parole so they could have control of me for the next 2 years, because I was only 1 month away statutory release, which is once they get released by law, they have to let you go. So they didn't want that. They wanted to, because of violence, they wanted 2 more extra years. So it didn't matter. I chose my freedom right away. And and that's where I started to paint in prison. I was working in a paint shop, and I asked for some paint, if I could take some paint. So the guy said, yeah, no problem. Just bring some little jars. So we put them in there, and I started to paint. And then before long, I was selling to the staff, to the security, visitors, and and I was making a little bit of money, just enough for canteen, and send home the money, and they send it back to me, so in money order form. So I went on for the rest of my stay there, and then I got released, and 3 months later, I got my first exhibition in Toronto, and it hasn't stopped since for the past over 30 years now. Not haven't got in trouble either, so I've been good. I didn't want to go back there, so that's that's the bad part of my life. The good part is that I became an artist full time, and I did very well back then. I'm still doing well today. 32 years later, I sold a lot of paintings. It's like over 4,500 originals. Worked for lawyers, worked for huge companies, mining companies, other big businesses. Sold artwork in France, Paris, France. Sold some of my work in Switzerland, California, and across Canada. And it's been very good to me, the arts. And I built a studio out of grants, but I put a lot of my own investment, my own money, so it could be the way I wanted it. So it's officially open about a month ago, and I was really happy that the people I invited, most of them came, but some of them have other stuff they had prevented that, but that's okay. They'll come someday. They'll come by, I hope. And if not, then life goes on. So yeah, I've been very busy in the last couple of weeks too, and I've done a lot of good stuff for young people, because I went to Maria, New Brunswick area, well, just on the Quebec side, across the bridge. I got off a plane in Bathurst, and I took my granddaughter with me, Serenity. She's 14 years old. That's my helper. I didn't ask for that, but they asked me one day, the director, you should bring your granddaughter, because it would do her good. Okay, I said, so they paid everything for us, and we made some money with her, and I give my granddaughter $2,000, for being my helper, and it was a good experience for her because it was the first time she ever got on a jet, and we had pretty good stay there for 6 days only. We just flew by, and we came back, and now we did they wanted a mural, but they changed their mind. They wanted it on a 4 by 8 feet canvas, plywood, and we did that, and because for some reason they don't own the building, they pay rent, so if they have to move, they can take the painting with them, right? So, and I've done a lot of other projects in the last couple of years. They're all over, not all over the world, but pretty much around the world once anyway. It's been a good journey since 1997 when they released me. I've not gone back. I had one little slip, but I just brushed myself off and said, well, they tell me that's part of recovery, so I just kept on going and staying straight. Well, I strongly believe that artwork can heal your problems. I'm talking about, say, like addiction, and for alcohol and drugs, and also the other stuff, your depression, you're lost in depression. You need someone to to help you to get back on track. And I think the artwork can do that because it's done before. It's done because I'm here, and that's what it's done for me. It did that for Norval Morrisseau, although he kept struggling all his life more so with addiction, but it helped other people, and that was his goal, and that's my goal too, to help other people maintain their life they're using from using drugs, maintain their sobriety, maintain their mind, their complete body, everything, because without that we get lost. And I believe that artwork can do that, because not only for the old but for the kids as well, and it drops into economic development afterwards. Because I think if the young kids come here, which I want to start in the fall, to bring kids in for workshops, maybe some of these kids will become an artist, and someday they'll choose to be a full-time artist and make a living out of it, as opposed to living on welfare, And it's just enough to live on welfare. And if you can get help from somebody like myself to help those young people get started, that'd be amazing, then some of my wishes and dreams would come true by then. Even if I can help one person to maintain his sobriety with addiction or alcohol, would be fantastic, because that's what it done for me. And this one year, I just finished it a couple of days ago. Going to be sold tomorrow to another First Community Center community in Lac-Yon. And that's my portrait up there.
Yeah.
That was done by a good friend of mine, Anatole. His name is Saint Ange. He's a native artist he's Innu, from the Cette area. And I said, I'm going to send you my picture, do it for me. And okay, so he did that for me, and I gave one of my paintings. Yeah. I'm still doing what I love. It's not a job, because I feel good every time I come in this new facility of mine, and it really encourages me to see people coming in and looking at my work, or I post them on social media, Facebook, and I just get good replies all the time. And some of them just say, well, we like your work, so many different people have called and take pictures of my painting hanging in their homes, It's wonderful to feel that feeling. And all this year, this what I'm feeling, my legacy is going to my granddaughter, Serenity. She's 14. She's a very good artist. Not painting, just painting a little bit right now, but she can draw really well, and she's trying to do like grandpa, that style, that kind of artwork, woodland artwork. And speaking of woodland artwork, when I was incarcerated, I came across this book with Norval Morrisseau. He was the founder of the Woodland School, and I didn't copy him, but I used his black line, my idea of the way I should make them, the way I saw it. It was different a little bit, but still it was his initial idea of Mr. Norval, Morrisseau. So I started doing my own way. It took me 30 years to kind of master what I'm doing now, It's so easy to do it now. People tell me how long it takes you to do a painting. Well, I said, I used to say that's a professional secret, because I didn't want them to know. Sometimes I'd take a day, and sell it for 5,000, So, and now I tell them, well, how long does it take? Well, let's see, from 1997, that's about 32 years now, I've been working to get this far, and that's how long it took me to do this painting. So, it's humor. I think humor is wonderful. You should have it all the time. It creates laughter, because it's good medicine to laugh. Release all that negativity we have in our minds. Everybody carries that, and not everybody can resolve that by just painting. People do other stuff. I believe, like, more so that my work and his work can heal people, or start the journey down the red road to sobriety and maintain that by being very up to date on everything. But it's the culture that matters, and that's what I'm trying to do for the young kids here in my community, and also for the young kids. I went to non-native schools in Rouen-Noranda, Val-d'Or, Sanitaire, La Sarre, Mulisker, and many more other places in Ontario. I want them to know who we are as Anicinabe people. You know, we're not better. We're different. That's all we are. We present ourselves differently, and we want to know who we are. If we don't know who we are, then we have lost a lost culture. You know, we need to know who we are as First Nations people. And I myself know myself today as an Anishinaabe man, an Anishinaabe traditional artist. Everything goes in a circle. I was taught that in my life, or everybody's life, we don't know where the circle starts and we don't know where it ends. That's life, right? All we know that we started in our mother's womb to come to earth, and then when we're here, we don't know how long we're going to be here. So then we move on to the next step.